So what do you like to do when you're not doing music? You're not raising chickens and hogs and running a farm and selling coffee. What does Katie Beth like to do? Just, you know what? I have nothing to do this weekend. This is what I'm going to do.
Me and my husband really like to go watch other musicians and support them. So if we have friends that are playing in town or something that's close and we have the weekend off, we'll go watch them and cheer them on. So
That's
otherwise,
awesome.
I like to take naps. I like to bake cinnamon rolls and take naps when I can.
Hey, Rhino, when are we going to her house? I want the cinnamon rolls.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And
And
I'll pet the chickens.
and being that I got diabetes, after I eat those cinnamon rolls, it's gonna make my A1C sugars shoot up. I'm gonna be wanting to sleep, so I'm gonna get the cinnamon rolls and a nap at the same time.
Yeah, I have learned that I am most peaceful in our house when there's no TVs on, everything's quiet. I will shut my phone off and just enjoy my garden outside and our animals.
Everybody's gotta have a way to unwind and to release and just get their mind on something else. As much as I love doing what I do here and running the radio stations and doing everything, Sunday's usually my day to just disconnect and recharge and lay around and watch TV and or take 3 or 4 hour nap if I want to.
Yeah. I don't get naps very often, but I try to. Last year I was so busy, and this year I had to pace myself better so that I didn't get so overwhelmed with everything. And it's been a lot better, for me this year because we have about the same amount of shows this year, but I've taken more self-care days.
It's important to do that.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to get burned out. When you're
if you don't watch it.
do what now?
I said you can do it very easily if you don't watch it.
I
Yep.
see a lot of indie artists as well as mainstream artists. I mean, they've got to take breaks. They have enough. I mean, I know some of these big name artists, they've got 300 dates, 200, 300 dates a year, and it's like you see them every once in a while. I got to take off for my health, which is understandable. I mean, you can't. It's not like when back in the day when Rhino was on the road doing 400 dates a year. Some days he was doing 2 dates a day, right, Rhino?
Yeah.
Well, I have, when I was just getting started, we would play any place we could tie in and jack in and roll. But then you get, it was a different time and a different era. I mean, we would have set down gigs at a band, in a club somewhere. That was the era coming out of the Chicken Wire Club time frame. And so we would be the regular band somewhere, play 5 1-hour sets. And I would be, if I was the only singer, I mean, that wears you out, over the 5 1-hour sets, So you do that, you're looking at, at the end of the day, you're sitting there at around 75 songs, somewhere between 70 to 75 songs. And that's a lot on you, but you just get conditioned for that. And then as you start to pro up, you'll be a 2-hour set. It becomes a 2-hour show. And then you start looking at 1 hour, or a 1-hour set and a 90-minute set, or if you're going to headline somewhere, you do a 2-hour set, and it starts to break up like that, and you get to really concentrate the show, and it's not sets anymore; it's a show, and so you have the flow, and you're coming out of one song into another song, and everything, and once you get to that level, for me. I like to keep it about the equivalent of one show a week. Now, sometime you would have set downs like we did the Arizona State Fair, where in 27 days, we had 21 shows, right?
Ugh.
So that's different. Plus, you've got all the press on Camel Country Radio where people could call in and talk to us, or you've got Good Morning Arizona, which was the live morning TV thing, and you'll have stuff. You have appearances, so your appearances aren't always shows, but they're always just as important because
Right.
the more people get to meet Katie, the more they're going to fall in love with Katie. And so, in a sense, the
Look at
shows
that
that you're
smile,
doing,
man.
I
The
already know what
smile
I'm
is
talking about. She's amazing. She's beautiful. She's precious. She's joy. And so we need more of that in this world. And so when I go through, I'm looking for ways to introduce people to Katie. And initially, the music is the way people do it, but that's not the that's not the destination. The music's just to get the party started. They get an appreciation for her as a musician and as a singer, but they fall in love when they get to meet her as a mom and a human being. That's when they realize just how cool she actually is. The singer's cool, but just a human being that's just like you. She's just like you. She is you. So you're rooting for yourself when you're rooting for her. When people make that connection, and that's what Tribe is all about.
Yeah.
we went to a concert the other night. There was three bands. It was Kansas and 38 Special, and there was a brand new band. I'd never heard of them. They were called Brother Kane, and I want to tell you something. I thought about the whole time when it came out. It said Brother Kane. It was spelled a little different, Kane, but I was like thought of Rhino the whole time. But those guys came out. They did a 30-minute set, and when they came out, they said we're contracted for 30 minutes, and we got to try to cram in 6 songs in 30 minutes. So he said he said I don't have a lot of time to talk. He said here's our new single or whatever it was, but it's like you said, I mean, now they're the opening act, so they only got to do 30 minutes. Eventually, hopefully they get to be that second act, they get to do an hour. And then they get to be the big act, and then they get to go for an hour and a half.
It
The show,
depends. It
do what, bud?
depends. It depends on the setup of the show. It depends on a lot of things with the venue. A lot of the venue has code enforcement where they've got to be done at a certain time. There's things nobody factor in on those type of deals. And the bottom line is that opener has the benefit of going and being a recipient. They get that's the best way to do it, is going as an opener like that. And then you have the institutional bands behind you, the legacy bands, who have lifelong fans and people who've proven to be super supporters. They'll pay the crazy ticket prices. They'll take off from work. They'll drive all the way there and deal with the crappy parking and everything else, and pay too much for a beer and pay too much for a t-shirt, but they're coming out there to support and have the experience. And that really kind of culls out all just the fake numbers that are out there when you're looking at streaming and everything else. What really matters are the people who are ready to spend some moments of the only life they'll ever live to come out and support somebody else who's spending moments of the only life they'll ever live to try to make the world a little bit more beautiful through music. And that's what's incredible. And as Katie grows and her name moves out farther and farther, she's starting to touch people outside of their original culture, right there
Yeah.
where she's at. And she's getting people outside of the cowboy culture to fall in love with her. Therefore, she's becoming an ambassador of the cowboy culture. And through them coming in, that's no small thing. And that's what I love. So as people fall in love with Katie and learn more about Katie, they learn more about her world, where she's from. And now you have people kind of reigniting that interest in the cowboy way of life. That part of the country, some of those small islands like the Four Sixes and all that, these places recently got attention through the Yellowstone series and all the spinoffs. And these are legacy places where people live their lives like that every day. And that happens to be Katie's world that she lives in. And so that's all really cool. And seeing those live bands and stuff that you're talking about, back to your point, Rob, you know, you'll do that 60 minutes or 30 minutes. That's the warm up. That's typically a warm up. And then the one that comes on for an hour or 90 minutes is the opener. And then you come in with your headliner that brings the boom. We've had situations like Abel Kane where we had situations where there was a sonic or let's say an intensity. It was an intensity differential where we came out just roaring. We were the warm up and the opener. So we would do a 2 hour set and they would save money by just hiring us. But the problem was the headliner was like, whoa, the crowd would be going crazy. You got 5,000 people jumping up and down, all in unison, stomping on the floor, and you just feel the ground moving. And the headliner will want to stay on the bus for about 40 minutes or an hour and let everybody wind down, between the opener.
Well, y'all were presenting much more competition than they had a bit of.
It's not competition. It's just like, it's not so much competition as it's just coming out with a roar. You got to keep that going, or you got to let everything kind of calm down a little bit and then do a reset and come out as the headliner, especially when they're going to play a bunch of hit ballads that they're known for and things like that. It was a little bit, as far as the party atmosphere, it was a little bit upside down. We had everybody just slamming and rocking and everything else, and then it slows down. Cool thing about Katie's stuff is it runs the whole gamut, and a lot of it's roots driven, kind of roots. So it's really, I've noticed too, it seems like it's really driven for the people in the dance halls where they can jump out there and dance together. And that's one of the coolest things to me is see a few hundred people all moving in unison around a Texas dance floor and seeing Katie and Rusty up there with the band, just keeping everybody going. It's a whole different vibe, and it's beautiful.
Is Rusty in the band?
Yes. Originally, when I very first started in music, I was with a different band, and then my mentor from that band told me, he's like, I really think you need your own band. And he was I didn't realize it, but my mentor at the time was Raw Wolf, and he's done some amazing things in music, and he taught me a lot. But he used to be a track coach once upon a time in college, and so I didn't realize, I think he was kind of coaching me into where one day I was going to leave and be on my own. So he told me, we need to get your own band and start your own music. So he recorded my first EP album, which was West Texas Gypsy. And so my very first band that I had, my guys just wouldn't work like I needed them to. I would give them like a whole year worth of work, and they were really young and they just didn't have the work ethic that I did. And so Rusty told me, he said, I'm just going to learn how to do this myself. And that way I can show up for you, and we don't have to worry about anybody. So he was kind of my knight in shining armor, as far as that goes. Or knight in shining Humvee, I guess. He's a Marine. Anyway, but yeah, so Rusty took this really cool program called Guitars for Vets, where they can do Zoom lessons to you if you're military or a veteran. And he started taking lessons with them, and he just put in hours and hours every day of learning our music, and he learned it. And so we got some more people together, and grew our band, and we've had the same guys for a long time. So I'm glad that, just like anybody else, sometimes you have to go through people before you get to a certain spot. And that's just everybody's, what everybody goes through. But everybody in our band, is like a family, and we travel, go to Airbnbs and have to stay with each other, all the time. But yeah, Rusty's done great. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't do what I'm doing without my husband helping me because obviously he's like my right hand man, So
So let me,
Literally.
if I go to a Katie Beth Mihm show, what can I expect? How long is the show? You play all originals? You play covers at all?
so all of our shows are actually family friendly, so you can bring, kids, grandkids, whatever. But you're gonna have a great time. I know that. We're very high energy the whole entire time. We usually play for 3 hours, so um, most of the time it kind of depends on the venue how our set list goes, but I do about 50 or 60% originals, and then I do 50 or 40% cover songs. But it's worked out really great. Like I said, it depends on the venue. If we go play a honky tonk, we're fixing to play at Rhinestone Saloon. We're going to open up for Pug Johnson, and another day we're going to open up for the Reeves Brothers. So we'll do a lot more like 90s country honky tonk songs. So it kind of just depends on the venue.
I figure
But
West Texas, you might throw some Tanya Tucker in there.
oh yeah.
What did you say? I cut you off. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, if you come to one of our shows, you'll be dancing the whole entire time and you'll love it. And I don't talk very much during our sets, but I do tell people what our songs are about, why I wrote them. And even if somebody's not a cowboy or if they're not from the cowboy culture, my songs all have to do with personal problems or personal things I've been through, personal successes. But I try to write everything for everybody, if that makes sense. So if I write a song, it's going to touch 10 people all from different places, because they've all gone through the same thing: love, loss, success.
I like the family friendly part.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My shows will always be family friendly. My very favoriteest thing ever is to have kids show up at our shows and they sit, down in front of us and they're sitting there just singing all the words to my songs. That to me, like that,
It melts your heart.
I love it. And
it would melt your heart.
yeah, I actually had a lady a couple weeks ago. I was just thinking about this lady just now. She and her daughter were really big fans of mine, but she had gone to a venue and she was eating with some people and she didn't realize it was me. And I started singing my song Kick Rocks. And all of a sudden I seen this lady kind of look at me weird like this in the audience. And she got up and she goes, "Oh, I love this song." And she goes, "Oh, I didn't know this was you." And she was like, "I got to talk to you and meet you,
There was this lady I was eating at the restaurant the other day was singing that. Wait, my gosh, that's you.
Yeah, she had that aha moment. So it was pretty funny, but that was cool.
Let us in your social media where we can connect with you, where we can get your music, and give us a little idea where we can get to know more about Katie Beth Mihm.
Sure. So what I would like everybody to do, that's the easiest thing, is we actually have our own app. And so if you get on your browser on your phone and type in katiebeth.myapp.to, you can download our app to your home screen and you will get, anytime we're playing in town, it'll send out text messages to people saying where we're going to be playing next and things like that. We also have our merch store on there, and all of our social media is on our app. So they can click for TikTok, Instagram. If you're following us on TikTok, it's going to be Katie Beth and Coyote Rose. Coyote Rose is my band. If you're on Facebook, it's going to be Katie Beth Mihm, Mihm. On Instagram, it's going to be Katie Beth and Coyote Rose.
And tell us the name of the app one more time.
It's katiebeth.myapp.to. And you just type it in your browser on your phone. We are not in the app store because it's an exclusive thing that I'm doing. People will be able to hear, bits and pieces of studio sessions. We'll have our music videos on there. It has all of our links to all of our social media. So that's probably the easiest.
That's a great idea.
We also have a website. It's just katiebethmihm.com.
So normally when we get to the end of the interview, Rhino's laughing. I don't know what he's laughing about, but he is.
Like, I don't know what to do with my hands of all the things.
I have that issue sometimes. My wife and I'll be talking and my fingers are moving. She's like, "Stop the moving of the fingers." I'm like, I don't realize that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So normally at the end of the interview, we play any song of your choosing, and we put it in at the end of the interview. What song would you like us to play here at the end of the interview?
Oh man.
I should have told you. Normally, I tell the guests at the very beginning before we go on camera, be thinking of a song you want us to play at the very end. But we got right into the talking with you today.
Gosh, I don't know.
What single do you have out right now?
I've got 2 out right now. I've got Dance Hall Dreams and Where the Neon Lives, which I forgot to tell you. Where the Neon Lives is number 5 right now in Europe in country music, and Where the Neon Lives here in the United States is number 30 in country music.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is you give us both the names of both of those songs again, and
Okay.
we're gonna play both of those songs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this interview in half. I will play one of the songs at the end of part 1, and then I'll play the other one at the end of part 2.
Okay, that's great. So let's do Where the Neon Lives, and the other one is Dance Hall Dreams.
We'll do it for you. Katie Beth, thank you 1,000,000% for being with us today. Rhino, what you got in closing, my man?
I'm proud of her. How did Fireflies do for you, Katie Beth?
Fireflies is doing great.
Is it still out?
Yes. Yeah, Fireflies is still charting. So I'm not sure what number it is without looking, but just right off the top of my head, but it's still charting. So
Where did it peak? Do you remember?
what?
Do you remember where it peaked?
I don't. That's a rusty question.
Yeah, that's a rusty question. Fireflies was one that I had the honor of writing with Jacqueline Jackman 25 plus years ago in Nashville, and we had Carolyn Don Johnson come in and sing on it, and it was a great track. And then it never was released in the United States. Carolyn is well known for so many huge singles that she's had and songs that she's had out, but she's primarily up in Canada. And Katie Beth and Rusty, they liked it. I thought it was an automatic fit for them, and it kind of, I think that the song that took y'all into the Americana network, kind of into.
It was. I know with Fireflies, like we were super successful with that, and Jacqueline actually came and saw us perform it at Pearl Saloon. She took a plane from Nashville and came and watched me sing that song, and she cried, and she was the bestest person ever. She was like, "You are awesome," and we just immediately became friends. So I felt a little pressure with her being there. I was like, I cannot mess this song up at all. So, but I'm wanting to say, so Fireflies actually, whenever we first released it for Americana and on CDX, I believe it got top downloads of the week. So we got 3 different spots for the top 5 spots. We got 3 of those spots, and Fireflies was one of them for top downloads of the week.
Yep.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's been great. That's been a great song, and it's perfect for summertime. We're just starting the summer off, and I tell everybody who has boats, blare that on your boat system. That's fun.
And like you said, it's probably energetic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
It's
love
definitely a summer love song.
I love energetic. Definitely love energetic music.
It's a great song. You need to listen to. It's called Fireflies.
We'll definitely do it.
Yes, sir.
I enjoyed having you with us. I 1,000,000% appreciate you spending some time with us this afternoon. As Rhino always says, we'll get you on in a couple 3 months. We'll touch base after the summer, and we'll talk about things going on in the fall and how your summer was. And just glad to have you with us on the tribe.
All right. I appreciate being part of the tribe.
Absolutely. Katie Beth Mihm for you right here on the Uncle's Show.
Bye, guys.